Hello, my name is Alix-Ann O'Brien, and my husband John and I adopted two beautiful children. In 2017, we adopted Donovan James, and Molly Kate came 14 months later. And it was probably about 5 years into marriage that we were thinking something must be wrong, because naturally we're not having children, and you're all supposed to just naturally be able to have kids, right? When a doctor tells you, these are the numbers of where an ideal person are supposed to be if you want to be able to have children at the age of like 25. And then, Alex, here are your numbers. And so we went from hope to no hope. And but they wanted to try anyway. So we did 6 to 8 rounds of IUI over a year period of time with no success. Adoption for me came a lot faster. I feel that anyone who goes through the adoption process, they can probably relate that sometimes in our situation, my spouse, he wasn't quite ready. It wasn't normal to him. We don't have a lot of people in our life with adoption. You just don't know a lot about it other than what you hear. And so for me, it was like a no-brainer. But you both have to be on the same page. That's huge. At the same time is also huge. So it took us a while to get on the same page, and there for a while I was concerned that because I knew that the want to have a child, regardless of how that happened, wasn't going to go away. So then you deal with resentment and guilt, and then you start to separate a little bit. So it was October of 2016, I know that date, and my husband planned a trip to Eureka Springs. And he knew why we were going on the trip, but I didn't. He was like, that's not what I was expecting you to say. And he was like, I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I realize how selfish I have been, and I am ready, I am full committed to doing this adoption journey with you. And I said, oh, thank God, because I'm gonna have to do it myself. Like, that was just my response, because, it was so emotional, and of course, and so then literally the next day on our way home, we started telling people in the community, and then, we live in Webster Groves, and so there's a page, the Webster Groves Connect, and I actually was very vulnerable and sent out just a hypothetical post, and I said, please don't say anything judgmental, but we just started the adoption process, and if anybody is comfortable with maybe if there's any leads or any recommendations, or if you've adopted before and you'd like to pass along that information, please do so. And there was someone that I'd never met reached out to me and said that she used a group out of Iowa called Adopt Connect, and she basically, in layman's terms, they're like adoption brokers. So they match the families, so they recruit the pregnant mothers, and then you reach out to them if you're the adoptive family. And it's basically an expedited process. You pay nothing up front until you're matched with someone. So our birth mother was told that she would never be able to have children, and with her lifestyle, she was not planning to have children. And she was 36 and homeless and has an addiction, and was nowhere ready or planning to have a child. So for her, it was really easy, and very early on, she detached herself. But then as the process of Donovan growing in her belly, she did become more attached, but she always knew that we were going to adopt the child. So we had 3 months to build that relationship. So of course all the situations are different, and you'll even get some adoptive parents will say that they didn't get to hold their baby for the first time for 3 to 4 months. It's all a totally different situation. So if you have the opportunity and the blessing that we had to be there when the baby is born, of course, take that. But also, if you're doing this for the first time, you don't know what you're doing wrong, and you don't know what you're doing right. And so try to separate yourself from the birth mother in the sense of You will thank her for the rest of your life that she gave you the gift of being a mommy and a daddy, but that she chose to give you the gift of being a mommy and daddy, and it's okay. And so you've got to let go of that guilt when you slowly distance yourself from that. But I have just made it a pact that every Sunday I send her, we have a private Facebook page that I send her pictures every Sunday with the letters. So happened that our birth mother got pregnant again in March. So just to give you a little idea of a timeline, so Donovan came in September. His official gotcha day, that official in the eyes of the law of California, was July 12th. And then fast forward to March of 2018, she became pregnant again and found out in May that she found out in May that she was pregnant again, and Donovan wasn't even officially ours until July. So she reached out to me on Facebook Instant Message and let me know that she really needed to talk to me and that she was pregnant again. And I didn't know what that conversation was. Were you just telling me and then you already had another plan? Had you already contacted the adoption group? I didn't know. So we went through like a 30-minute really weird conversation via instant message. And basically, at the end of it, I said, so, what's your plan? Even though I knew that she was not ready to have a baby, I asked the question, are you planning on raising this child? And she's like, oh, Alex, gosh, no. I'm telling you this because if you want the child, this baby is yours. And I fell on the floor, fell on the floor in my office, because I was like, how am I going to tell John that she's pregnant again, and with the cost of adoption that we're going to do this over again. So after I talked to him, and to be completely honest, he was not, we're back to square one again. He was not as ready as I was to do it all over. He goes, for you, it's no question, right, Alex? And I was like, well, this is his sister. We were not planning on adopting a second child, but I feel you just have to. This is his sister. We didn't know it was his sister at the time, but his sister. So after we got it together, and then we talked to our attorney, and because she came to us directly, we did not have to go through the placement group. And so, full transparency, it was like a third of the cost. And you just have to pay the attorney fees.
An amazing blessing.
Amazing. Until you say the words, how does it feel to be a parent of an adopted child? I don't even think about them being adopted. It also helps that they look very similar to us. However, they are our children. We don't introduce them as our adopted kids. They are our babies. It is unreal how, they say to parents that are giving birth, it'll just happen. As soon as your wife delivers, it will just happen, and you will just know what to do. And even though you don't have a clue, you'll just know what to do. And that happened to us too. Even though we were older, we still didn't know what we were doing. And then when they put that baby in your arms for the first time, you just do it. And Donovan became our child that day, and Molly Kate became our child on November 28th when she was born. I will always say that, God gives you as much as you can handle, and sometimes it's too much at one time. But we didn't know that we didn't want to adopt because that wasn't put in front of our plate. We just assumed we're going to have children naturally, so we don't need to look at adoption. And then once we were both bought into the idea of adoption, then there was no turning back. And I know this sounds silly, but my natural woman instinct of wanting to have children went away naturally. Because I used to thrive on it and focus on it every day and think about it all the time and resent my friends and not be excited for people that were getting pregnant around me. And then it didn't matter, because I had these two amazing children, and I don't even think about how they got here.